Hello, my music-loving friends. Okay, friends, so we have this piece glued in. We have our organizational lines. You might have noticed that I recommended you might want to use a ruler in this one because we want some pretty straight lines on this. You don't have to use a ruler, but I am going to use one because we're going to be making a staff that's a little bit smaller than we've made in the past. So, grabbing my ruler here, I am finding this middle line, but I'm also observing where this final column is. I know it's very hard to see the fold lines, but if you look at yours, you'll notice you can see a fold line right here, and we are not going to draw our staff past that line. We're only going to draw our staff over here. So I'm going to start right on that middle line, and I'm going to start on that side. Even though normally I would go from left to right, it's a little bit easier if you go the other direction so you don't accidentally go into this little space over here, which we need for writing something later. So I'm putting my ruler right along that middle line. If you're not using a ruler, you're just drawing along that middle line. And for this, I am using an unfancy black pen just so that I'll have a really clear staff. We'll talk about that term in just a second. So here we go. Here's that line that I was talking about. So I don't draw over here. I'm starting here. I'm going all the way across. Voila. Okay, now you have two other lines from folding. And since a staff has 5 lines, we're going to put a line on this fold and a line on this fold and then some lines in between. All right, so let's do the one that's on top here. So I put my ruler right along that fold line. Again, you don't have to use a ruler. Remember this line where we're trying not to write over here? I'm starting right there and I'm going across. So it looks like so. Find that bottom fold line. We're going to draw a line right along there. All right, I've got my ruler in place, not drawing in here, starting my line on that fold line and going across. Okay. So we need 5 lines, right? We're going to put one evenly spaced here and one evenly spaced here. If it's not perfectly evenly spaced, we don't sweat that. That's fine, but we're going to try. So I'm going to start by making a little mark in what I see as the center between this line and this line. And then I'm going to try to draw a very straight line that goes from that dot to the other edge. And I'm making sure that my ruler looks like it's lined up with the line above. Starting here on this fold line and going across. That looks pretty good. All right, I'm going to do the same thing in the bottom. I want one in between here and here. I'm going to put a little dot where I want it. And then put my ruler down. I'm going to make sure it looks as straight as can be with the line above. And then I'm going to draw my line. I'm not going to panic if it's imperfect. Looks pretty good though. Okay, so now we have our 5 lines, and I already called this the staff, but you have to remember that it's called that, so we are going to label it, and we're going to write directly on it. So turn your book a little bit and write the word staff right here along with me. S-T-A-F-F. I didn't even mean to line my F's up with the lines, but it just came out that way. All right, so that is the staff. That is like a little chart that we write notes on. We're going to get more into that as we go. Okay, so you have this nice, neat staff here. And the next thing that we need to add is a clef sign for your instrument. So I'm going to do clef signs one at a time, but I have this philosophy in my classes that if one section needs to know something, every section needs to know that thing. So even if I'm talking to a group of players and you're not part of that group of players, let's say that I'm saying something to the flute section and you're a trombone player, let's still pay attention so you have all of the information that they have. Okay, so I'm just going to start with pencil because I'm going to be drawing something first with pencil, so you can just watch me do that. And then I'm going to go over it in pen, and when I do that, then you will copy me. Okay? So at the beginning of the music, there will always be something that tells you about what kind of instrument is playing that music. When you see a treble clef, It means it's a high sounding instrument. This is where you're just going to watch me. A treble clef starts by making a little spiral that starts around the second line from the bottom. So we start our spiral, we go around, we kind of go around that second line, we touch the bottom line, and then we come back here and we stop for a moment. Once we get there, we're gonna go the other direction this way, whee, and then hook back around. I used to have a piano teacher who compared that to a swan, which is very cute. And once we've gotten there, we draw a straight line back down through our previous work and put a little hook on the bottom of it. So this is your moment to do this with me. So grab your writing utensil. We start right under that second line from the bottom in the space below it. We draw our spiral around, touch that bottom line, and when you get over here, pause for a moment. Then we go up this way and hook around. And then once we get there, we draw a line straight down through our previous work and hook it back up. Now I referred to this as a treble clef, so let's label that. We're going to squeeze it in up here. Treble is T, R, E, B, L, E. And for everyone, the word clef is spelled C-L-E-F with one F. Staff has two Fs, clef has one. Let's do the next clef sign. Okay, the last one we need to learn how to draw is a bass clef. So this applies to trombones, tubas, string bass, cello, any instrument that sounds low. So for a bass clef, we're going to start by finding the second line from the top and putting a little circle that we color in. And then we're going to make sort of a spiral where we start here and we go around, touch the top line, and come back down. So make sure yours looks like mine. It's not as complicated as the treble clef. I only did the pencil for that one because it's more complicated than the other ones to draw. And then once we have this shape in place, then we add a dot here and a dot here. And then we label it. Bass is spelled a little bit funny. It's B-A-S-S. And I know you know how to spell clef. It's spelled C-L-E-F. So now everyone has a clef sign on your staff. And the next thing that we'll do is add some notes to your staff to help you with your note reading.